So the background music from my current show was a total coincidence, and I had to leave it there. But back to glass, which involved quite a bit of switching back and forth between different grinder bit sizes. But in my experience, it's better to have an excuse to do so more often than not because the inside of the grinder bit can get rusty and really hard to get off. Or maybe it's just me, but I've had it happen more than once. Because this stained glass Game Boy is three-dimensional and symmetrical, I had to make sure some of the pieces, well, a lot of the pieces were pretty much exact replicas of each other. I also had to make sure that after combining all the pieces, making up the front and back panels, that the front and back panels matched up perfectly together. And you'll see here in just a second that they did. I was actually very happy with how closely I was able to grind the glass to match the pattern lines, considering they're pen lines and not my usual thicker permanent marker lines. But with this piece being 3D, I really wanted to make sure each piece is perfect to the micrometer. I realized I needed these side pieces way shorter, so I cut off a lot of the excess to save myself a lot of time at the grinder. I also cut out 2 sets of the inside shelf pieces because I was not thinking far enough ahead and I didn't like the color I originally chose, so I went with the gray since you're going to be able to see the wispy gray in the background if there isn't a game being displayed in it, which, if you haven't seen any of my other videos, is the idea. Last but not least are the tiny bits of glass that are going to make the buttons for this Game Boy Inspired project. If I don't lose them. Off camera, I actually ended up making 2 of the D-pad buttons because the first one turned out super wonky. But it finally came out as perfect as possible. The vision is really coming to life. Also off camera, I ended up doing all of the copper foiling, so like and subscribe to see the next step, which is soldering.